Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with the Business Entrepreneur channel. Today we're going to be looking at a YouTube video. It's all about the basics of bookkeeping and how how you can kind of use that to really understand your business finances a bit better.
Yeah, exactly. And, for anyone who's listening, who's maybe running their own business or even thinking about starting one, this is like the essential foundation to, really having a successful and sustainable business.
For sure. And I think, a lot of people when they hear bookkeeping, they kind of nah. They get a little bit scared, like, oh, that sounds really complicated. But I think that's why this video is so great.
Right.
Because it really breaks it down into really simple terms and even goes into
Yeah.
some practical stuff like how to actually do it and different software you can use.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that really stood out to me about this video was how they emphasize that bookkeeping isn't just for accountants or financial experts. It's something that anyone can learn, and it's something that you can really benefit from, even if you're just starting out.
For sure. Okay, so the video starts by kind of making this really clear distinction between bookkeeping and accounting. And I think that's super important because a lot of people use these terms interchangeably, but they're actually quite different.
Yeah, think of it this way. Bookkeeping is it's like the day-to-day recording of all your financial transactions. So every time you make a sale, every time you buy something, you're writing it down or inputting it into a system. And
Wow.
accounting is more about taking that data and analyzing it to understand the bigger picture of your business's financial health.
Okay, so bookkeeping is the foundation,
Yeah,
and then accounting is kind of building on top of that.
exactly. And you need both to really have a solid understanding of your finances.
Right. And the video uses this really great analogy about building a house, where bookkeeping is laying the bricks one by one, making sure everything is in place.
And accounting is stepping back and admiring the finished product.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's so helpful because it really paints this picture of how these two things work together.
Mm-hmm.
So then the video goes into the actual tasks of bookkeeping, and it highlights three main ones: tracking finances,
Organizing your accounts.
and reconciling your books.
So let's start with tracking your finances,
Yeah.
because that's really the bread and butter of bookkeeping.
And this is where it gets real for entrepreneurs. You really need to know where your money is coming from and where it's going.
For sure.
And the video breaks it down into these four main categories.
So we've got profits,
Right.
expenses,
Inventory and liabilities.
and I found that breakdown to be super helpful, especially the part about profits, because it reminded me that you need to be tracking cash sales and credit sales separately.
Right, because if you're dealing with invoices and stuff like that, you might not actually receive the money for those sales right away.
Exactly. So it's really important to keep track of that distinction.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might think you have more money than you actually do. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, they kind of lump all their income together. But it's really important to separate it out.
Totally. And then when it comes to expenses, the video does a really good job of explaining the difference between recurring expenses and non-recurring expenses.
So recurring expenses are things that you pay for on a regular basis, like your rent, your utilities, your internet bill.
Yeah, those things that just kind of come up every month.
Exactly. And then non-recurring expenses are things that you only pay for once in a while, or maybe for a specific project.
So for example, if you're running an online store, a recurring expense might be your website hosting fees, or your email marketing subscription.
Right.
But a non-recurring expense might be if you're doing a big product photo shoot.
Or a bulk order of packaging material.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's so important to distinguish between these two types of expenses, because it really helps you anticipate your costs and budget accordingly.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's move on to organizing accounts.
Okay.
Now, this is something that I know a lot of people find daunting,
Yeah, it can seem a bit overwhelming at first.
especially if you're not an accounting whiz.
Yeah.
But the video makes it really clear that you don't need to be an expert.
Right. The key is just to understand the basic categories.
Right.
And there are 5 main categories that you need to be aware of.
So those are assets.
Liability, income, expenses.
And think of these categories like the building blocks of your financial records.
Okay.
So assets are things that your business owns.
Like your equipment, your inventory,
Exactly.
maybe even your website domain name.
Right. And liabilities are things that your business owes to others.
Like loans,
Yeah.
credit card debt.
Unpaid invoices.
And then income is pretty straightforward. It's just the money that your business is bringing in.
And expenses are the money that your business is spending.
And then equity represents the owner's stake in the business. And that's calculated by subtracting your liabilities from your assets.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So basically, you need to keep track of all these different categories
Yeah.
to have a clear picture of your business's financial position.
Exactly. And the video really stresses the importance of having a system that works for you, but also for your accountant.
Right, because you want to make sure that your records are organized in a way that
Yeah.
makes it easy for them to understand what's going on.
And to prepare your taxes.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have any tips on like how to make that collaboration with your accountant smoother?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first and foremost, talk to your accountant, like actually have a conversation with them
Yeah.
about their preferred methods for receiving information.
Like, do they want like digital spreadsheets? Do they want like paper copies of everything?
Exactly. Some accountants might be like super tech savvy,
Yeah.
and they might want everything like uploaded to the cloud.
Right.
Other accountants might be a little bit more old school, and they might prefer like paper copies.
So you really need to like figure out what works best for them.
Exactly. And the other thing is to create a clear and consistent naming convention for your accounts.
Okay, that makes sense. So like if you have an account for office supplies,
Make sure you always call it
like,
office supplies.
don't call it like stationery 1 month and then like pens and paper the next month.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
Right.
And then finally, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Your accountant is there to guide you
Right.
and to make sure that your books are in good shape.
Or like your financial therapist.
Uh,
Exactly.
okay, so let's talk about reconciling books. This is something that I've always struggled with, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
The term itself just sounds kind of scary,
Yeah. It can be a bit intimidating.
but the video does a really good job of explaining what it is and why it's important.
So essentially reconciling your books is just about making sure that your records match your bank statements.
Okay.
So you're basically comparing what you've recorded in your books.
So what your bank is saying you've spent or received. Exactly. And it's a way to catch any errors or discrepancies early on.
So like if you accidentally entered a transaction twice, or if you forgot to record a payment.
Or if there's like a fraudulent charge on your account.
Yeah, you'll be able to catch it when you reconcile your books.
Exactly. And the video emphasizes how important this is for tax preparation.
Right.
Because if your books are a mess,
Yeah.
it's going to be a nightmare to try and file your taxes.
And nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
So it's really best to just stay on top of it and reconcile your books regularly.
And, you know, it doesn't have to be this like super time-consuming task. If you're doing it regularly,
Yeah, if you're just doing it like once a month or even once a week.
it's not going to take you that long.
Exactly, and it'll save you a lot of stress in the long run.
For sure.
And, you know, while we're on the topic of like resources and helpful information, I just want to say that if you're finding this conversation valuable, you should definitely check out the Business Entrepreneur channel on YouTube.
Yeah, they have a ton of great content for entrepreneurs.
And the full video that we're discussing today is also available on their channel.
Definitely check it out.
Okay, so let's move on to bookkeeping software.
Okay.
Because obviously, like in this day and age,
Yeah.
there are a lot of different software options available to help you with your bookkeeping.
Yeah, and the video actually compares 3 of the most popular options
The QuickBooks.
and 0. And each of these platforms has its own pros and cons.
So let's kind of like dive into each one and see what they're all about.
Sounds good.
So let's start with QuickBooks.
Okay.
I feel like QuickBooks is kind of like the industry standard.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most well-known and widely used bookkeeping software out there.
And for good reason. Like it's incredibly robust, it has like a ton of features, and it can handle pretty much every aspect of your finances.
Yeah, from invoicing and expense tracking to payroll and inventory management.
Like it does it all.
It does it all.
And I've also heard great things about its integration capabilities.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really sets QuickBooks apart.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, basically, QuickBooks can seamlessly connect with your bank accounts, your credit card accounts, and various other business apps.
So that means like transactions can be automatically categorized and synced.
Exactly.
So you don't have to manually enter everything.
Right. It saves you a ton of time and effort.
And it reduces the risk of errors.
Absolutely.
Because like, let's be real, we're all human.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes.
And when you're dealing with numbers,
Yeah,
even a small mistake can have big consequences.
totally. So having software that can automate those tasks is a huge help.
For sure.
And the video also mentions that QuickBooks has a mobile app, which is super convenient.
Yeah, you can manage your finances from anywhere. On your phone or tablet.
which is like perfect for entrepreneurs who are always on the go.
Absolutely.
But of course, all this power comes at a price.
Right.
QuickBooks is not free.
It operates on a monthly subscription model.
And the plans range from like $15 to $35 a month.
Yeah, depending on the features you need.
And the number of users you want on your account.
So it's important to weigh the cost against the value it brings to your business.
Right.
If you're a small business owner who's just starting out, you might not need all the bells and whistles that QuickBooks offers.
And in that case, you might be better off with a more affordable option.
Exactly, and that's where Wave comes in. Yeah, Wave is a great alternative to QuickBooks, especially if you're on a tight budget.
Yeah, because it's free.
Well, the basic version is free.
Right.
They do have paid plans as well.
But even the free plan is pretty robust.
Yeah, you can track expenses, send invoices, reconcile your accounts. You can even generate basic financial reports.
That's amazing. Like, I can't believe that all that is free.
I know, it's a really great deal.
So it's perfect for like solopreneurs and small businesses
Absolutely.
who are just starting out.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there are some limitations to the free version.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you get what you pay for.
Right.
So the free version of Wave does have some ads, and some of the more advanced features like payroll and multi-currency support are only available in the paid plans.
Right.
But if you just need basic bookkeeping functionality, the free plan is more than enough.
Totally.
And they also have a mobile app,
Oh, that's great.
so you can manage your finances on the go.
So that's super convenient.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about Xero? I feel like that's another one that I hear a lot about.
Yeah, Xero is another popular cloud-based bookkeeping software. It's known for its intuitive interface and its strong emphasis on collaboration.
So like multiple users can access the same account,
Exactly.
which is great for teams.
Yeah, or if you're working with an external bookkeeper or accountant.
Right. And it also has really good reporting capabilities.
Yeah, Xero's reports are very comprehensive and customizable.
So you can really get a deep understanding of your financial performance.
Absolutely.
But the video did mention that like Xero's core functionality can be a bit basic.
Yeah, that's true.
So some users might need to purchase add-ons.
For specific needs, like advanced inventory management,
Industry-specific reporting.
if those add-ons can add up.
Yeah, so it's important to factor that into your decision.
Right.
Xero's pricing plans range from $9 to $180 a month.
Wow, that's quite a range.
Yeah, it depends on the features you need and the number of users.
So it's definitely worth like doing your research and figuring out which plan is right for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about like tracking finances, organizing accounts, reconciling books, and bookkeeping software. But at what point do you think it makes sense to actually like bring in professional help?
Well, I think it depends on a lot of factors, like the size and complexity of your business,
Yeah.
your own level of comfort with bookkeeping,
Right.
and of course your budget.
But I think a lot of entrepreneurs hesitate to bring in help.
Yeah, I think there's this kind of like DIY mentality where people feel like they have to do everything themselves.
Especially in the early stages.
Right?
But I think the video makes a really good point, which is that hiring a bookkeeper isn't about admitting defeat. Yeah, it's about strategically leveraging expertise
To support your growth.
and to free up your time and energy,
So you can focus on what you do best.
which is running your business.
Exactly. And the video actually suggests asking yourself a really important question, which is, what kind of business do I run? And does this potential bookkeeper understand the nuances of my industry?
Ah, that's super important.
Because you wouldn't want someone with experience in retail managing the books for a tech startup.
Right.
Like it's just a completely different animal.
You want someone who speaks your language,
Exactly.
who understands your specific challenges.
And who can offer tailored advice.
Yeah, like let's say you're a freelance photographer.
Okay.
You'd want a bookkeeper who understands how to categorize expenses related to equipment rentals, studio space, even like those creative workshops you attend.
Right.
It's about more than just crunching numbers.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the ecosystem of your business.
Totally. And I think it's also important to consider their tech skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the video encourages entrepreneurs to ask potential bookkeepers about their preferred software.
And their overall comfort level with technology.
Because bookkeeping is so much more than just spreadsheets and calculators these days.
It's about leveraging software to automate tasks, gain insights, streamline financial management.
So you want someone who's tech savvy
Yeah.
and who can help you like maximize the benefits of those tools.
For sure.
And the video also talks about the different types of bookkeepers available. Like you can choose from full-time, part-time, or even freelance bookkeepers.
Yeah, it really depends on your needs and your budget,
Right, so you need to think about your current volume of transactions
the complexity of your finances.
and how much time you're realistically willing to dedicate to bookkeeping.
Exactly.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed, it might be time to bring in a professional.
Even if it's just for a few hours a week.
Right. And one thing I really appreciate about the Business Entrepreneur Channel's approach is they encourage entrepreneurs to explore all their options. It's not just about finding a solo bookkeeper.
Yeah.
They also talk about bookkeeping firms.
And remote workers.
Yeah, like the bookkeeping landscape is constantly evolving.
And there are so many innovative solutions out there.
So it's really about finding what works best for you.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important to remember that you don't have to do everything yourself.
Right. There are experts out there who can help you.
And free up your time so you can focus on growing your business.
And speaking of finding the right support, I just wanted to reiterate that we're getting all this great advice from the Business Entrepreneur Channel's YouTube video.
Yeah.
So if you're finding this helpful, definitely check out their channel.
Yeah, they have a ton of great content, specifically for entrepreneurs.
Okay, so let's go back to the video's advice on interviewing potential bookkeepers.
Okay.
They really emphasize the importance of aligning priorities.
Yeah, it's not just about finding someone with the right skills.
It's about making sure that their work style and values match your own.
So they suggest asking candidates what they would prioritize if they were hired.
Yeah, that gives you insights into their approach.
And helps you gauge whether they'd be a good fit for your company culture.
Exactly.
So for example, you might ask them, what steps would you take to ensure accuracy in our financial records?
No. Or how would you handle a situation where you identify a potential error in our books?
Right.
Their answers will reveal a lot about their work ethic and problem-solving skills.
And it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like you should
Yeah,
also be
it's-
prepared to share your priorities and expectations.
Absolutely. Transparency is key
Yeah.
for building a strong and successful working relationship.
So don't be afraid to get specific. Tell them about your preferred communication style
Your reporting needs?
and any specific challenges you've faced in the past.
The more open you are, the better equipped they'll be to meet your needs.
Exactly. And I think the video's final point is really important, which is don't limit yourself to just one type of candidate.
Right. Be open to exploring different options.
Bookkeeping firms, remote workers, freelancers,
It's all about finding the perfect match for your business.
and your budget.
And the beauty of the modern world is that we have so many choices.
Yeah, we really do.
It's about finding the solution that empowers you to feel confident and in control of your finances.
I love that. And I think that's a great note to end on. So it sounds like, finding the right bookkeeper can be a really empowering experience for entrepreneurs.
It really can. And you know what I really liked about this video is how they emphasize flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
As a small business owner, you can adapt your approach to bookkeeping as your business grows.
Yeah, like you're not stuck with one way of doing things.
Exactly. You can start by managing your own books and then bring in a professional as your business grows.
Or if you realize you need some help,
Right.
which can be a relief for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Or really can.
Because, bookkeeping can feel like this really daunting task.
Especially when you're first starting out.
But the video kind of takes the pressure off.
By giving you permission to just figure it out as you go.
Yeah. And they even suggest that you can transition back to handling your own bookkeeping once you've learned the ropes from a professional.
That's a really good point.
So it's all about finding what works best for you and your business at each stage.
Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap up this deep dive,
Right.
I want to go back to one of the most fundamental takeaways from the video, which is the importance of understanding your finances.
Yes, absolutely.
Bookkeeping isn't just about crunching numbers
It's about gaining insights into your business's financial health.
and being able to answer questions like, where is my money coming from?
What are my biggest expenses?
Am I profitable?
Right.
And the video actually provides this brilliant litmus test for determining if you're on the right track with your bookkeeping.
Oh, really? What's that?
It's this question, can I track every dollar of my company's money right now?
Oh, wow.
That's such a simple question.
But it's so powerful.
If the answer is yes,
Then your books are more than just a record of transactions.
they're a valuable asset.
That can help you make informed decisions about your business.
And that level of clarity is essential for identifying areas for improvement.
And ultimately, achieving your entrepreneurial dreams.
So it's a reminder that bookkeeping is an investment in your success.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you decide to manage your own books or bring in a professional, you need to approach it with intention.
and recognize its power to fuel your growth.
I love that. So if you're interested in learning more about bookkeeping and exploring all the resources that the Business Entrepreneur channel has to offer, be sure to check out their full video on YouTube.
Yeah, it's packed with valuable insights and practical tips.
So let's recap the key takeaways for our listeners today. First and foremost, bookkeeping is essential.
It's not just about compliance.
It's about understanding your financial landscape so you can make smart decisions.
And steer your business towards success.
You don't need to be a math whiz to master bookkeeping.
With good organization, the right tools, and a willingness to learn, anyone can do it.
And we talked about some fantastic software options today. QuickBooks Wave Zero.
There's something out there for everyone.
And if you need extra support, don't hesitate to bring in a professional.
Explore your options.
Bookkeeping firms, remote workers, freelancers,
Find the right fit for your business.
and most importantly, approach bookkeeping with a positive mindset.
It's not just about numbers.
It's about empowering yourself to build a financially thriving business.
I love that.
So thank you to our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into bookkeeping.
We hope you found it informative and inspiring.
And a special shout out to the Business Entrepreneur channel for creating such a great video.
Be sure to check out their channel for more valuable content.
Until next time, happy bookkeeping, and thank you for listening to the Business Entrepreneur channel.